What makes Floyd so unique? Because he fought, you know, he fought Pacquiao, he fought you, he fought Gotti, he fought Corrales, he fought Ricky Hatton. He's fought so many, and all these guys, a lot of these guys had titles at the time or were former world champions like yourself. What makes him so unique?
His pedigree. Look, I'm good friends with his father. The best trainer I've ever had.
Wow.
By far. He is, well, except for the professor who trained me for the Chavez fight when I beat Chavez in 1996. But Floyd Sr. is the best trainer I've ever had. He's a teacher. And that's what Floyd Jr. grew up with. He grew up with a teacher who disciplined him to be the very, very best. And I love his patience. I love the fact that he's a hard hitter and he has a chin. See, people discredit him for not having a chin. He has a chin and he has a big heart. So I think that what makes him unique is obviously his boxing ability, but his ring generalship is what does it for me. He knows how to pick his spots. He knows how to get you tired without even throwing punches. It's crazy. I mean, I can figure this out, but that's who Floyd is, and that's what made him great.
But people say he don't have any knockouts. He doesn't have power.
Oh, he has power. He has power. He has power. I mean, he didn't hurt me, but he has power. He has a lot of. I have a good chin. Pacquiao didn't hurt me. Bernard didn't hurt me. I mean, he caught me with that body shot. I have a good chin, but Floyd does have power.
But if you look at Floyd at the lighter weight class, he was stopping people. It wasn't until he got to 147, 154 that, and then his hands. He had to be careful with his hands, because the last thing you want to do is throw a shot, break a hand, and then all of a sudden you got to fight the next 10, 11 rounds with a broken hand.
Well, I think what happened with Floyd is, and this is where he played it smart. You know, you have to give credit where credit is due. Floyd, after he beat me, if you notice, he became Money Mayweather.
Yes.
Well, he became a businessman.
Yes.
So then now, okay, let me have, you know, my career, you know, the longevity of my career. I'm going to extend it as long as possible. I'm not going to get hit. I'm going to throw punches and pick and choose so my career can last longer and make more money. Very smart.
Had Floyd been around in the 80s and he had to fight Hagler, he had to fight Leonard, he had to fight Hearns, he had to fight Barkley, or he, you know, just say some of those guys, Durant, you know, how would he have fared with those? Because all those guys, guys had dynamite. Sugar Ray was a lot harder puncher than people give him credit for. And he had a heart of a lion. How would Floyd would have fared? Now, I'm not saying he'd probably go up to, because Floyd is a small man, and that's what makes it, he was so great, because he's not having to drop 20, 30 pounds to make 147. He's probably walking around at 150 his entire life.
Oh yeah, he's a professional.
Yes.
You know, he knows how to stay lean and stay active and always in the gym, and you know, and fighters and kids who want to become champions should emulate exactly what Floyd did inside the ring, inside the gym. And you asked me the question about the 80s and the four kings, right?
Yes.
Duran and Hearns and Hagler and
Leonard.
It would have been quite interesting. I would have probably called it the five kings. You know, he's that worthy of fighting those guys and making great fights. Everybody had their own unique style.
Yes.
Duran was a beast.
Yes.
Hagler was a beast.
Yes.
Sugar Ray Leonard was a beast. I mean, Hearns. And either one had their own, you know, attributes, whether it was a right hand from Hearns, punches and bunches from Duran, who would just eat you alive, and Sugar Ray Leonard just had it all. So I don't know. It's hard to say whether he would have won or lost, but I think being in the mix would have made it just, I mean, that much more exciting.
Because back then, as you said, after he fought you, he became more of a businessman. But back then, there was no, you had to fight. You know, if you go back and look at the 70s and 80s with the heavyweight, Norton had to fight Ali. Ali had to fight Frazier. Frazier had to fight Foreman. Foreman had to fight so forth, so forth and so on. And so there was no situation, there was no business, and he came along at the great time. Not to discredit him, because he's transcendently great. But in that era, there was no businessman like Floyd turned out to be during that era, so he'd have had to fight.
Well, look, what people don't understand and know, or maybe forget, I promoted Floyd's 16 fights roughly when we were building him. You know, he was under Golden Boy Promotions, and obviously I own Golden Boy Promotions.
Was that after Top Rank?
That was right after Top Rank.
Okay.
And so we got him the Ricky Hand fight. We positioned him to fight, you know, Juan Manuel Marquez, Canelo, who actually I told Canelo, do not fight Floyd because you're too young. You have no experience.
Right.
Well,
but he's a much bigger man.
He is, but he's 21 years old, flexing his muscles like I can take on Floyd. I'm the very best. Guess what? You got schooled. You got schooled.
Pitched the shutout.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't even close. So my point is, Floyd played his cards right. If there was ever a winner in Las Vegas, it's Floyd.
It's Floyd. Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you guys have a rematch, you and Floyd?
Why didn't we have a rematch? Well, this is something that the world doesn't know, and I'm going to actually say it now. We had a rematch for a year contractually. Guess what Floyd did? He retired for a year and 1 day. Let the contract expire. And I was asked out. That's it.
Had you had the rematch, do you felt you could have avenged what happened earlier?
No. My body was breaking down. My body was over it. That was the final. Yeah, that was the last straw. It was. I felt it in the 7th, 8th round, where because my jab is my weapon.
Right.
I throw my jab and nobody can beat me.
Right.
And I just couldn't throw it. And so it was over. My body was breaking down. I fought Pacquiao, and I was a dead man walking. I walked inside the ring, and my legs were shaking, and I was like, please just knock me out. Just stop me right here.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, Oscar, if you know your body is breaking down, you know you're not the fighter that you once were, why take a fight with Pacquiao when you know he's a dangerous man?
Because I dared to be great. I always dared to be great.
You had already had that, Oscar.
I want some more.
You and Floyd fought on, if I'm not mistaken, it was Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Cinco de Mayo, yeah.
When you saw him come out there with his Mexican gear on, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, wait, the hat's on backwards. At least put it on right. You know? No, it was appropriate. I was just thinking at that time, man, I want to knock his ass out.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because I'm a competitor. Right. But then you think, because I'm a businessman too, I started Golden Boy Promotions way before I even finished fighting.
Correct.
So I was already thinking, wow, what a genius. That's a great marketing tool there. And sure enough, Floyd was built to be the villain. Floyd was built with his opponents that we put in front of him, you know, from Miguel Cotto to everybody. He was the villain. And in a movie, you need the hero and the villain. And Floyd was the perfect villain. You know, people love to hate him. And guess what? He made a whole career about it, and he's one of the greatest.
Do you think people tune in to watch greatness or tune in to watch him lose?
A lot of people tuned in to watch him lose, but a lot of people also tuned in to watch greatness. I know the purist like yourself, people that's been around the boxing game, the fight game for an extended period of time, they understand who he is. Sure.
But do you think the casual, the layperson, realize how great he is?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's what happens is that we don't realize how wonderful of a person that individual is, or what great of an athlete that person is, until they're maybe past, or until they're old. You know, we don't realize, we don't tend to do the research, you know, and study the careers and label him as a great one, or, you know, it's just, it's till the end, obviously. And I think that Floyd Mayweather is just a great fighter. He's one of the best.
I think the thing that what makes him so unique is that he didn't hang on too long. A lot of the great fighters, they hang on too long. Sure. They fight these young lions, and then it somehow 1 or 2 losses diminish the greatness that we saw for over a decade.
Sure.
And Floyd never succumbed to that.
Right, which is smart. which is great. I mean, he didn't get hit much in his career, in the amateurs, in the pros, and he did it smart. He played it smart. That's what it's all about. The business is great, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
Right.
My cup of tea was you fight everybody in their prime, in their peak. You fight against the best, and guess what? The chances of losing are pretty great because you're fighting other great fighters.
Right.
And that was my position. That was my mentality going into every single fight I signed for. With Floyd, you can make the argument, well, okay, this guy he should have fought him 2 years prior. He should have fought him earlier. Maybe he caught him when he was older. You can make the argument, but at the end of the day, when you watch the skills inside the ring, it's just different. Yeah, it's undeniable.
Because you had Floyd Sr. was your trainer up until you got ready to fight Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Sure.
Had you had Sr. in your corner fighting Junior, do you think you win that fight?
Knock him out. I'll knock him out. I would knock him out.
Really?
Absolutely. If I was 1 year younger and had Senior in my corner, I would knock him out. Really.
Senior was that good of a trainer. You have that much confidence in your ability. You would have done something that no man, I've only seen Floyd take really maybe a handful of solid punches.
Sure.
And you feel you were going to be able to put together a package.
Oh, yeah.
To knock Floyd out.
Absolutely. And you know what the key was? And the key is to that style is the jab. Opens up all the doors. When my jab failed me, it was over. I knew it. In my heart, in my head, I knew it was over. Floyd was coming after me because he closes the show. He knows how to reserve his energies and his gas tank to close the show at the end. And I'll tell you a story that nobody knows. We were negotiating to fight Floyd again after the contract expired. And I started negotiating with Floyd's father to train me to beat his son. He wanted too much money. And I just said, you know what? Aside from the money, okay, I understand that. It's a lot of money that I have to pay you, so I'm going to pass. But aside from that, morally, I just thought it was wrong.
Right.
His father being in his corner, because I think at the time they were having a little, little issue, because it happens in every family.
Yes.
It happens in every family. So I said, you know what? No, I can't do this. I cannot do this to a family who has been in the business for a very long time. I don't know how many generations.
His uncle fought Roger.
His uncle Roger.
Now
I think his other uncle Jeff, who I fought. So yeah, boxing runs in their blood, and so I just couldn't do that to them, and we didn't make the fight.
Floyd, I guess Ryan Garcia and Floyd they've been talking, communicating. What's that relationship? What's that dynamic between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Ryan Garcia?
Well, yeah, now that Floyd was a little idle in the promotional business for a while. Now that he started again, he hired an individual that was actually my ex-CEO. Funny stories about that.
Schaefer?
Yes. So now that he started it up again, yeah, it's. Do I worry? No, because Floyd is probably talking to him as fighter to fighter.
Right.
Maybe he's slipping in some business. Hey, come sign with me or this and that. But look, Ryan knows exactly who helped him out. Ryan knows. Ryan's a loyal guy who can, in boxing, who he'll tell me if he wants to leave me or he wants to stay with me. And, plus we have a contract, so.
Do you think Floyd will make a great trainer?
I think so. I think he'll make a great trainer like his father. His father had something very unique. He was a sergeant. I think Floyd has that same attribute where it's like he takes no shit from nobody, Like he'll dump. I remember one time his father dumped a water bucket on me at 5 a.m. in the morning to wake up to go run. Nobody has ever done that. Not to the Golden Boy. Come on. And he did it, and I respected him from that day on.
Right. Because you look at some of the trainers, Buddy McGirt, Floyd Sr.
Yeah.
Some of the great trainers were fighters.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
But not like Floyd, historically great, because a lot of times when you look at Oscar and we say, the greater the player, the less the ability to coach.
Sure.
Because they're looking at it like, bro, why can't you do that?
Right.
I could do that in my sleep.
Right.
But that's what made you great.
Exactly.
So the thing that I have with Floyd, there's no question he knows the game.
Sure.
But would he rub off as like, damn, that would be so easy for me?
One thing about Floyd is that he's a hard worker, so he'll implement that to his arsenal, right?
Okay.
To his training arsenal. He'll make you work hard, just like his father.
Yes.
In boxing, we have a lot of great trainers, but we've only had a handful of great teachers.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference, you know. Emmanuel Stewart.
Yes.
Man, top 3 of my training. I had 7 trainers in my whole career. You have to take a look at
why does boxers have so many trainers?
You keep learning, you keep growing. You outlast your trainer. They can't teach you anymore. Yeah. So those teachers are not around anymore, you know, like Eddie Futch.
Yeah.
Who trained Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, God bless them, but all these trainers want to be heroes now, you know. They want to get on camera. Hey, I'm here, look at me. No, it's quite a unique gift that these guys had, that these teachers had, and that's why we only had like 3 of them in the sport of boxing.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before 2 something.